We live in a world with an information overload. Every day we are getting constantly bombarded with news, knowledge, memes, and buying triggers. The average American consumes about 34 gigabytes of data and information every day. This is estimated to be an equivalent of 100,000 words heard and read every day, which is just a little bit more than Tolkien's The Hobbit. So in order for us to communicate effectively and cut through that noise, we need a tool to transport our message clearly, and that's where visual communication comes into play. The same way as verbal, non-verbal, and written communication, the main purpose of visual communication is the process of exchanging information, ideas, thoughts, and feelings. It is often combining creativity and purpose, aiming to communicate effectively through images, symbols, colors, and design. At its core, visual communication is about bridging the gap between an idea and its audience, making complex information more accessible and engaging. Visual communication is highly effective due to the brain's ability to process images quickly. The human brain can process images up to 60,000 times faster than text. While reading text involves decoding symbols to understand its meaning, which takes more cognitive effort, visual information such as images can be processed almost instantaneously because they can be understood at a glance without the need for decoding. Visuals also have a broader impact on memory and emotion, making them more likely to be remembered and to elicit a stronger emotional response than text alone. This capability is fundamental to the effectiveness of visual communication, as humans are wired to respond and to remember visual stimuli better than text alone. Through the strategic use of visual elements, this discipline can capture attention, evoke emotions, and drive actions in a way that words just cannot match. The scope of visual communication is broad, encompassing everything from graphic design, advertising, and web design to photography, film, and much more. And it's not just about making things look appealing. It's about visual storytelling, making information more digestible, whether it is a logo that encapsulates a brand's identity, an infographic that breaks down complex data, or a user interface that guides your interactions with an app. Visual communication is at work. Otto Eicher was a prominent German graphic designer and typographer, renowned for his contributions in visual communication and corporate identity design. He's most famous for his work on the visual identity and signage system for the 1972 Munich Olympics. His pictograms for the Olympics are celebrated for their clarity, simplicity, and universality, qualities that embody effective visual communication. These pictograms were designed to guide and inform an international audience, transcending language barriers to communicate the types of sport events taking place. This was particularly significant given the global nature of the Olympics, where attendees and athletes came from a diverse linguistic and cultural background. Eicher's approach to creating these pictograms was rooted in a minimalistic design philosophy. He used simple geometric shapes and lines to represent the human body and the specific action associated with each sport. For example, the pictogram for football features a figure with a clear defined ball, poised as if in the middle of a game ready to score a goal, while the cycling pictogram depicts a cyclist in motion, easily distinguishable by the circular wheels and the forward-leaning posture of the rider. These designs are deceptively simple, yet instantly recognizable, achieving Eicher's goal of universal comprehension. The strength of Eicher's pictograms lies in their ability to convey motion and sport-specific action through static images alone. Each pictogram was carefully crafted to capture the essence of the sport it represented, utilizing a consistent visual style that made the icons cohesive when viewed as a collection. This consistency was crucial for the Olympics' visual identity, creating a seamless experience across various applications, from signage to printed materials. Beyond their functional role in the Olympics, Eicher's pictograms have had a lasting impact on the design world. They set a new standard for public signage and inspired the creation of pictographic systems for other purposes as well, from transportation to public services. Their influence is evident in the way that pictograms are used today in various international contexts, where the goal is to quickly communicate a clear message without relying on the written language. Eicher's work demonstrated the power of design to bridge cultural and linguistic divides, showcasing how visual symbols can be universal means of communication. His pictograms for the 1972 Olympics remained a benchmark for clarity, simplicity, and effectiveness in visual communication, embodying the principles that continue to guide designers through creating accessible and universally understandable visuals. Even though effective visual communication often requires a deep understanding of the visual principles, such as composition, color theory, and typography, alongside an awareness of the audience perception and the cultural context, there are a few things that basically everybody can do to enhance their visual communication skills. Whether it is a presentation you need to do for your boss or you just want to create visuals for your own business. The first thing everybody can do is to keep it simple. Each piece of your visual communication should center around one single main idea or message. This focus ensures that your audience can quickly grasp what you're trying to communicate without being distracted. Try to use clean and uncluttered layouts and don't overcrowd your design with too many elements. Only stick to the necessary elements you need to tell your story. And try to use a limited color palette and avoid using too many different fonts as well. And if you're stuck or you don't know how you can execute a certain idea, you can always try to find inspiration and learn from others. Look for examples of good design within your industry or beyond your industry. And pay attention what makes the certain visuals effective and consider how you can actually apply similar strategies to your own work. Platforms like Dribbble, Behance, and Pinterest, or even Instagram are treasure trophies of design inspiration. And questioning why you do things is always a good idea because it helps you to get a more distant perspective on your own work. But sometimes we're just so stuck in our minds and we cannot separate ourselves properly. And then you can try to share your design with others to get feedback. And this can provide really good insight into how your visual communication is actually perceived and what improvements can be done. In a world saturated with information, visual communication stands out as a critical tool for cutting through the noise. It transforms abstract ideas into tangible visuals, making the invisible visible and the complex simple. As we move more towards a visual-oriented culture, the role of visual communication continues to grow, becoming an indispensable part of how we share knowledge, tell stories, and connect with each other.